Hey, what's going on, everybody? Tim Castleman here, and welcome to another edition of the Two Drink Tim podcast. Today, heavy heart day, folks. Whoa, the feels alert. Here's the deal. I have decided that this is probably, with 99.9% assurances in my mind, going to be my last edition of the Two Drink Tim podcast. Don't fret, homies. Don't fret. Let me explain to you what's going on, why, all that good stuff. And then I'll talk to you about kind of my whole process in the future and all that stuff like that. So if you've been a fan, I highly recommend you listen to this entire episode. If you're just now discovering me, go the hell away, right? Because it's kind of like when you discover a TV show that has been canceled. And you're like, damn it, why didn't anyone tell you? I'm telling you, the show's been canceled. We're moving on. And I don't want you to get addicted to something that's not going to be around to fulfill your dopamine release needs and all that stuff. I just don't need that stress. So, speaking of stress, let's talk about that. I have been debating about this podcast, keeping it alive or killing it off, for pretty much all of 2016. And it was recommended by my previous assistant back in December, like, hey, we should kill it off. And I was like, no, I can do this still. And obviously, judging by my lack of production, I haven't been able to do it. And it's been something that's kind of been nagging on me. So what I did is just kind of a recount. I tried to take the summer off, failed spectacularly at that. I did manage to get 2 solid weeks where I kind of decompressed, which was really nice. So for me, during that time, I did take some time and sit down and go like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to be when you grow up? What about? All these things, right? And I just decided that this podcast, along with several other projects that we currently have ongoing in our business, just need to be temporarily paused or permanently killed off in some instances, so that we can really do our best work. So don't feel like this is the only thing getting the axe. We have even several recurring projects that are disappearing and dissipating because I don't want to spend the time or money fulfilling them each month for lower and lower returns on investment. Really, this thing started as a gag. This podcast, it started as something I wanted to give a shot and see. And then it quickly turned into something that was fun and entertaining. Then it turned into something that was a little dark for me, not in a bad way. I just felt like I was coming on here and sharing therapy thoughts and, had some real profound breakthroughs and a few breakdowns while doing that whole process. Then things got murky about December of last year, coincidentally about the time that my whole shenanigans with the offline assistance company started, and their CEO, who continues to get my videos taken down and try to block my content on top of suing me for $1 million. And I really think that's where I kind of was like, man, I don't know if I want to keep doing this anymore. And not just, the podcast. I mean, when you have something like that happen, you start doubting your whole, like, do I really want to be in business anymore, really? Do I really want to have to deal with shitheads like this? And it's like, it's just something that makes you pause and reflect and, try to find your heartfelt message and all that other horse shit that the woo-woo gurus teach you, right? Basically, it was just like, hey, is this something that I want to continue doing? And it is something I love doing, but it's all over the place. It's me, it's my business, it's music, it's all of those things, and that's because that's me. I don't fit into one of those categories. I mean, I struggle to go to bed at the same time every night. I've been fighting it for years. I have weight issues that I've been fighting for years, and it's just like, man, I just don't think I'm going to be like other people, and I keep fighting it, hoping that's going to change, and I don't think it is. And eventually, one day, hopefully, before I die, I'll just accept, like, you know what, you can be just a little different, and that'll be okay. So for me, not being able to regularly produce these, not being committed to doing it, that doesn't do you any favors. And really, just wanting to open up the space and focus on other projects. The other reason that I am closing this podcast down, at least for the time being, is the Two Drink Tim moniker is awesome, right? When I got in this industry, right, it was like, hey, let's go VIP, let's go bottle service, let's party hard. I used to joke with my friends, like, hey, I didn't really get to party in college, so I'm kind of doing my life in reverse and doing that now. And that's true, right? When I went to college, I was married at the time, and not anymore to that woman. But I had a very adult I mean, it was like I graduated high school early. I went straight into the military, had a job. Before I knew it, I had a wife. Then I had a terrible marriage. Then I had several other jobs. Now I have my own business. It's like, so I feel like I've had to be very adult my whole life, and I missed out on some of those experiences. So I consciously decided that I was going to partake in the party experience, right? I was going to just party, enjoy myself, go wild, go crazy, and I've had a lot of fun doing that. And it's been created some tremendous memories. It's created several embarrassing moments. And above all, it's like, hey, like the party guy at 26 is awesome. The party guy at 36, it's like, whoa, dude, like what? Like, so for me, and hear me clearly, I'm not giving up drinking. I'm not giving up any other activities that may or may not occur on a regular basis, but I may reduce those. And if I don't reduce them, I don't want to at least shine a light on them for the mere fact I don't want people thinking that's what I'm all about. It's like, yes, I love live music. Yes, I love to have a good time. Yes, if you roll me a J, I'm probably going to partake, but that doesn't define who I am. That's a part of me, but it's not who I am. And I don't want people who are new to this podcast or new to me to discover this podcast and think like, oh, this guy's just a alcoholic, drug addict, crazy mofo. Like, I don't want them to think that anyway. And I don't, because that's not who I am. So for me, it's also a little bit about branding. It's like, yeah, the Two Drink Tim moniker was fun, but like I'm not drunk at all here. I'm not under any substances. I'm 100% sober. And I don't want people to think like, oh my God, you're that wild, crazy guy. Because again, that's really cool at a certain age, as I burp in your ear, and really not cool at another age. I think of like Hunter S. Thompson, who I'm not comparing myself to at all, but I did watch a documentary on him, and it always stuck out to me that like he always had to be that wild, crazy guy because that's what people paid him to be. And, I don't mind being the wild, crazy guy. I'm certainly good at it. Actually, I'm terrible at it as far as like I'm wild, crazy, then I'm blackout, don't remember, right? Like, but, I don't want to be that guy, and I don't want to feel like I have to fulfill that role. I'd much rather have people enjoy me for my inner beauty instead of my outer beauty, whatever horseshit. You know what I mean. I want people to not think that I'm a raging alcoholic that likes to party and go crazy, and every night is just a drunken, booze-filled orgy with musicians and groupies, because none of that has happened. If it has, I certainly have not been invited to the groupie party. But you get the idea. So, for the time being, and for all of future time that I can consider, the Two Drink Tim podcast is going to come to an end. Now, I want to walk you through the process that I did in case you're overwhelmed with shit and help you get less overwhelmed. But before I do that, I'd be like remiss if I didn't say thank you to a lot of people who have listened, who have encouraged me, and really got me excited about doing this at times when maybe I wasn't super excited myself. First guy I want to say thanks to is Ryan McKinney. He was a guy that was like, hey man, you need to definitely try this out. And Ryan's doing his own stuff and handling his own life. And I just want to say thanks to him. I want to thanks to Sue, who in addition to plying me with lots of alcohol, anytime an episode hadn't been released in a while, was constantly like, man, I miss your podcast, I miss your podcast, I miss your podcast. And it's just nice to know, like, you just don't know if people really give a shit about something until it seems to be gone. And then people are like, hey, where is that thing that you used to do or that you do? Where is that? And how can we be a part of it? So I want to thank her for being encouraging for that. I want to thank my good buddy, Dr. Ben Atkins, who, after a few hard podcast episodes, especially during some dark times, reached out to me and was like, hey, man, love you, here for you. If you need a hug, you need something, like, let me know. And that just means a lot, again, because you're like, okay, I'm making these crazy ideas and thoughts and sayings, and no one's really paying attention. And then you're like, oh, shit, someone is actually paying attention. So that, and of course, everybody who listens, right? Like my friend Roger, who's like, man, I got you new podcast listeners. Like everybody who was so interested and excited in this podcast and listened to it and reviewed it and took the time out of their day. Like, you can waste money, you can waste energy, but you can't waste time because you never get that back. So for everybody who did spend their time on the podcast, I greatly appreciate it. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. This thing has been really cathartic and fun, and it may reemerge in some form or fashion under a different moniker, meaning name, at some point, and it may not. It may just be something special that I get to kind of look back at and say, hey, that was fun. Thanks so much. really enjoyed that time. And I did. I don't want anyone to be like, oh, Tim's so sad. I am sad, which is kind of funny because I definitely wasn't sad before I started this. But I am sad to think that this thing is going. But I know for me, right, I have to close off doors to open new ones. I just do. So, shit happens. Here's what I did. I basically sat down. I wrote a list out of everything that we were doing in our business, and not even probably an exhaustive list, but pretty damn close. And I just started thinking, like, do I enjoy this? Is it making me money? How much time is it taking? And this podcast, along with, again, several other projects, were just things that, A, weren't income producing, which this was never the goal of this. B, weren't fun. I love making this. Or 3, I just couldn't do it the level that I wanted to consistently. And that was really the deal with me. I'm a creative creator type person. So when I record this podcast, right, I want you to imagine me being hungry, right? Well, I record this podcast, suddenly I'm full because my body's like, hey, we created something. My creative side of my body and my brain is like, we created something. So to go out and do paid projects or to do anything like that just really didn't, when you're full, you can't eat more. You're just like, I don't care how good that chocolate cake is, there's no room at the end. Well, that's kind of what was happening in some instances with this podcast, where I was releasing stuff and thinking, oh man, this is awesome. I definitely want to, keep making creative stuff, but I'm full because I already created something. I already created something new and different and interesting. So that's one of the reasons, and one of the main reasons that I decided to let this thing go, along with the stuff I talked about previously. I don't want to have people think this is who I am as a person all the time. And even though it's tough for me, I am trying to make some personal changes where, like, hey, that was great. You partied. You had your 4 years. I officially could have a PhD in partying. I've done it for so many years that have kind of snuck up on me. I'm like, what? That was 4 years ago. What? Huh? What? 4 years? Okay. So it's just one of those things that I just think it's the best to move on. And the best time to do that is right now when I'm making clean breaks from several other properties, so I can close the loop, so to speak, on this, so that I can move on, so that I can just decide, hey, this is fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. And I thank you for your time. So if you're overwhelmed, what I'd recommend you do is start making a list of shit, and then instead of delegate, eliminate first. I heard that on Tim Ferriss' podcast. I was like, oh, that's simple. So right now I'm in the elimination phase of projects as I creak in my new chair that's not supposed to creak. Spent $300 on a damn chair, and you think it like, hey, could you not creak? Nope, gonna keep creaking. All right, well, good talk. So for me, master list. Then started going one by one and saying, okay, are we making any money? Nope. Do we enjoy doing this? Nope. Is it something that we want to keep going and forward? When the answer was no to those things, I just decided to let them go. Yeah, it's a little painful. Yeah, it sucks a little bit. I definitely admit there's some ego involved here. It's like, oh, you're giving up, you're quitting. But it's like, yeah, if I was doing heroin, which I'm not, but if I was and gave it up, no one would be like, you're a quitter, you're a pussy, can't believe you. Stay till the end. Stay till you get super skinny and you can see your heartbeat. Like, no one would get mad at me for that. So for me, I just think long term, this is fun. This has been fun, but it's probably not something that I want to continue with the same branding and stuff. Will we do a podcast in the future? Maybe. I don't know. I've got some fun ideas and exciting projects ahead, which is the other reason why I got rid of several projects is, you can't, everything that you have in your life, every project, every commitment, everything, I always look at it as an anchor, something that's going to hold you in place and hold you down. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But it's hard to move around if you've got a million anchors on you. So I'm trying to free some of those up so that I can get some space and some distance and do the things that I want to do and need to do and all that great stuff. So yeah, that's really it. I wish I could tell you crazy, more exciting reasons why behind it. I've loved every artist that I've got to interview here. I know some of you guys loved that, some of you guys didn't. I've enjoyed the entire experience, but I just think it's time to move on. And instead of being one of those guys that just disappears, like, I wanted to be upfront with you and honest and tell you, like, I may come back, but I probably won't. And if I do come back, it'll be under a different thing. Now, that won't mean that I won't be wild and crazy on there. It just won't be like the drunken party fest. It's like Doug Stanhope has Getting Doug with High. Well, his whole thing is about doing weed, right? His whole super high me. All of these things are all about him smoking weed. That's awesome. Until the day that Doug goes, hey, I don't want to smoke weed anymore. And then all his fans go, no, you're the pothead. You don't understand. You're the pothead. You have to. You have to smoke, right? So I don't want to get trapped in that corner. I don't want people to think less of me because of what I'm doing, or typecast me, if you will. So with that being said, um, let me give you one last update. Life is good. I'm happy. I'm fat and happy, right? Okay, I'm definitely happy. I'm not so sure I'm happy about being fat. One day maybe I'll try working on that. Business is business, right? I keep trying to come up with the perfect plan and the perfect solution, and that shit just doesn't happen, and it's not going to happen. And I'm going to keep beating myself up over it, and I'm going to keep thinking about it and trying to decide. And I may get it, I may not. I doubt I will. Maybe this is something that I will just constantly keep struggling because I keep trying to get something better, something different, something unique, something, I want to have that perfect plan instead of just going like, hey, let's just take a few tiny steps. But for the rest of this year, we're just going to focus on the stuff that's worked for us, add some different components, and just keep doing the best that I can do. And if anything, like this whole journey the last couple of years has taught me that progress over perfection. And I know you hear that shit, but it's true. It's like I was thinking about this last night. We're going to be on this journey forever. We're never going to get to this point. And whenever I've gotten to the point where I plateau, like that's when bad shit starts to happen. I was thinking about that. When it comes to just consuming information. It's like, yeah, I consume a bunch of social media and articles, but like sitting down and reviewing courses, when's the last time I've done that? It's been years since I've done that, where I have a habitual pattern of learning, where it's like, hey, Trey Llewellyn has this, I think he calls it like Work Night Wednesdays, where it's like every Wednesday night he's just reviewing stuff for work. And it's like, I think doing something like that would be beneficial, because my biggest thing is I want to get to the plateau, right? I want to get to the end, the finish line, and stuff like that. And that shit doesn't happen. It's never going to happen. And when I hit the finish line, it's going to be because I'm dead. So for me, it's about trying to get back to where I was a little bit. It's about trying to implement some habits that I had in the past, and get rid of a few habits that I've created that maybe aren't so helpful long term. So that's my journey. That's what I'm going to be working on, of course, with the business, trying to figure out what you knuckleheads want. So the most frustrating fucking part of my job is like, what do my people want? Because they don't know what they want sometimes. And I don't want to just keep shoving shit down their throat. Like, I generally want everyone to want to quit their job. And they all do want to quit it. They all have... I'm going to fuck it up. Sorry, Russell. One, because I cussed there, and two, because I'm going to quote you on it. It was like everyone has the desire, but not everybody has the ambition. Everyone has the ambition, but not the... I think it's everyone has the desire, but not the ambition. He said that on a live stream recently, and I thought, yeah, that's true. Like, everyone has... Right? I have the desire to be skinny. Right? I have the desire. Man, it'd be nice if I was skinny. Fuck, if I'm going to be skinny, give me some six-pack abs, some pecs, some lats, some trats, some tries, some buys, some... I don't even know what any of that meant. Sorry, I was just... trying to impress my muscle building friends. But I don't have, so I have the desire, but yeah, I have the ability, but I just don't want to, like, I want to be skinny, but I also want to go to IHOP at 10 o'clock at night and eat their salted caramel pancakes. Right? So it's like, okay, yeah, I want something, but I'm not willing to put in the work. I was willing to put in the work for this business and this job. When I had a job, I did. I legitimately read the Gary Halbert letters every single night. And yes, I was single and I didn't have kids, and oh, how lucky and awesome I am to be able to do that, and you can't, right? Go ahead and insert your self-limiting belief and excuses about why you can't do it. Trust me, when you fucking hate your life and you hate your job, right? And you have an ex-wife that you want to prove wrong in the worst way, and you've got friends and family that you can't wait to shove it in their face like, hey, look at me, I'm successful, bitch, you find a way to do that. And I wish everybody got to that point, but they don't. They don't. And I'm guilty of it in my own areas, but man, it's frustrating as shit when you try to sell to people that you're like, hey, all right, well, let's get this going. And they're like, no, it sounds like work. Don't want to do that. People are like, well, just get a different type of customers. Okay. Working on it. Working on a lot of things. Work, like Rihanna. So that's what I'm going to do. Keep working on myself, keep working on my business, keep working forward, keep pressing forward, keep eliminating stuff that no longer serves me, and delegating the stuff that I don't want to do, and try to keep living a crazy, awesome life, and taking the time to enjoy and remember, like, while I'm on the journey, like, how awesome things have been. And they couldn't be any more awesome than they are right now. I couldn't be any happier with kind of what we're trying to do. And, when I have those dark moments and when I have those thoughts of limiting belief or, beating myself up, it's like I always just got to look back from where I came from. Because in 2008, 2009, I was making $40,000 a year. We're doing much better than that now. And as long as that continues to be the trend, I just got to remember how, to use a religious term, blessed that I am. So thanks for being a part of this journey. I look forward to seeing you in whatever reincarnation or new incarnation my life and business takes going forward. If you want to join me on that journey, you can always find out the latest and greatest about me at timothycasserman.com. If you don't, if you want to go on, do your own thing, because maybe you're like, hey, maybe listen to podcasts 12 hours a day isn't serving me. I totally honor and respect that too. You got my respect. You have my thanks. And above all, you have my well wishes. And I hope that the future is just as bright for you as you want it to be. And if it's not, listen to a couple old episodes. Maybe they'll spark you up, or find someone that can help you kind of make those dreams become a reality. And I think that's enough infomercial talk for one day. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the emails. Thanks for the support. And I will see you on the other side.